Even though I filled everything in, I had to fill it in again. Let me go back and check this. All right, hang on. So many things to type in so many places. It's even worse when I hear myself in a video somewhere. All right, I've seen it on YouTube. Let me share the link with you in case you want to try it out. There it is on YouTube. Let's see. Oh, hang on. Wow, did this actually work for me? Yeah, I think it did. Dang. There it is on Facebook, folks. Look at me being all like current generation. Okay. Awesome. Hello, Facebook. Hello, YouTube. Okay. Now, back to what I was saying. Okay, so I think this is a good starting spot for the main app. I'm toying around with an idea. When I developed some kiosk interfaces for an app, and this was back using Flash, but one of the things I did that seemed to be pretty popular, when a field was active, it would actually sort of come out of the screen slightly, so it would get slightly bigger, and I think I put a drop shadow behind it, something like that, change the color, something like that. So as you was tabbing through with the sort of the virtual on-screen keyboard, you knew which field you were typing in. I'm tempted to do something similar on this. Kind of a bit of an excuse to play around with some of the modifiers in real time on SwiftUI, something like that. As you know, I'm always looking for a reason to go learn something new. That seems like a pretty good one, right? So thinking I may do that. Now there's going to be a settings screen. The other screens that I'm thinking of, right? Let me make another artboard here off to one side. Let me just draw a little to-do list here, right? We'll just call this one screen list. Okay. So there's going to be the main screen, which is this one. Or so let's call it main entry. It's going to be a settings screen. A preview. Some kind of export option is what I'm going to call it right now. I'm thinking maybe the share sheet is the better way to go in the future. That way you could share it to wherever you want it to be, including the clipboard. So export option, yeah, export options, maybe share sheet. Let's make this a little bigger. Let's see what else is there going to be. Trying to think. I mean, that covers the basic options, but I really feel like there should be... there's going to be a favorite tag management screen. Let's see what else. That's enough to get started with the very basic core of the app. I'm trying to think if there's going to be anything else on there. Hey, CocoType, you going to be streaming later today? Well, I hope not, right? Because you said you're relaxing, so hopefully you're not going to stress yourself out with the stream this weekend. All right, so that's the main intro. Let's do a once for the settings. I feel like maybe the preview could actually just, it doesn't even have to be a separate screen. It could just appear over the top here as kind of an overlay pop-up. Let me see if I'm going to take all of those. Let's group them. And let's call this the entry screen. Going back to Monday, Wednesday, Friday schedule. Oh, 3 days. Good for you. Yeah. Schedule permitting is always the tricky one, right? You know, like I know going into this week, I'm going to be exceptionally busy with the day job. So I'm going to try. I want to try and do 2 a week, right? Keep the Sunday. And I'm thinking maybe 1 early in the week. The problem I'm having right now, folks, is Sunday is normally the day that I record the Compile Swift podcast. But it is a bit much to try and do the podcast recording and editing and all that stuff and a stream. So I'm actually splitting them across a couple of different days. Right now, what I'm going to experiment with is the stream on Sundays and recording the podcast on like a Tuesday, something like that. Because Monday, just, we all know what it's like, right? You got a 9 till 5, or if you're a developer, it's like a 12 till 12, you know, kind of job that you don't want to be doing more at the end of the day. So I think if I put the pressure on myself to record the podcast on a Monday night, too much. So I'm going to try for maybe Tuesday with a Wednesday release, something like that. All of my stats clearly tell me that my podcast is primarily played during the week. Makes sense, right? Because during the week is when I tend to listen to a lot of my technical podcasts that I like to listen to. So I don't necessarily feel the pressure to get it out over the weekend is a requirement, and that the stream is a more relaxing thing, kind of free form to do. So yeah, I get that whole pressure of multiple things in the week. All right. Plus, I have another podcast called The Life Creative. I don't know if I've ever mentioned it to anyone on Compile Swift stuff before, but it's just about creativity in general. Let me punch I'll type it in the thing here. So this is the Life Creative podcast. You may want to check out, which is, got to remember my URL, which you can find that there, right? That's just my everything kind of freeform, creative, whatever you want to call it. Podcasts are good community fodder during the week, makes sense. Yeah, I think so, right? Because, you know, it's very interesting. I think this is just based on me, but all of my stats on all of the platforms, right? Be it podcast, the website for Compile Swift, whatever it is, it does great solidly through the week. And then at the weekend, you see a sharp drop off because hopefully nobody's working. And if you're not working, most people not looking to solve technical problems, things like that. So they're probably not Googling, probably not hitting the, search engine with the websites, all of that kind of stuff makes perfect sense, right? So my numbers have always dropped off on everything over the weekend, except for the streaming, funny enough. So, that makes a lot of sense, even though for me, the weekend is my chance to play with code primarily because of a lot of the management stuff. I manage my team and that during the week, so I get to do less code, more managing of everything, kind of all the other stuff, the Jiras, the Scrums, all that fun stuff. So for me, it's the weekend is when I do my coding. So for me, it's kind of flips around the opposite. But I like the weekend to be kind of more free form. Yeah, I want to do it, but maybe a bit of flexibility when I do it, that kind of thing, right? Because we all got to take a break. And in fact, I did an episode on that recently where I was talking about, we all, as developers and that, have to keep pushing ourselves. We don't have a choice. we either push ourselves or the work that we have to do pushes us to always be learning new things. And if you do that 24/7, you're going to burn out in no time. So, you really need to say, okay, that's my week thing. The weekend, I'm going to do something different, whatever it may be, right? So that's why I don't mind losing the numbers at the weekend. It would be somewhat distressing if I was doing really good numbers on everything, like every day of the week, because that would mean there's more people working at the weekend than there should be, if that makes sense, right? At least based on the way that I do things and how I learn and that kind of stuff. Like this stuff today with the sketch stuff, instead of actually writing the code, it's fun. It's fun because there's no right or wrong. You just get to play with it, and today okay, it's not going to stress me out trying to fix the code today, but maybe what I'll do is next week, okay, I'm going to take this and now let's make it look like this with the code, right? Something like that. Okay, so anyway, favorite tag management, export options. All right, so this one now, let's take this. That's the entry screen, right? Although, I kind of feel like since this one is on the bar for the app, that should really be everywhere, right? Let's make another one here. So let's make a new group. I gotta make something first. So actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and I'm going to take that. I'm just going to copy it. I'd be curious, folks out there watching, listening, whatever. Let me know, do you use Sketch still? What apps do you use to prototype? Maybe you just do it straight in Xcode. For me, prototyping is a thing where I can pretty much do it anywhere in any app, but I like to, when I'm doing like this and kicking around the ideas for the designs, fall back on my years of web development where I sit with some kind of graphic editor, right? Sketch. There's Sketch, there's ProtoPie, there's Framer was a good one. I used that for some React stuff. There's Illustrator, Adobe has their design thing and all of the stuff like that. But for me, Sketch is not only a really nice app to use on the Mac, but it looks nice and it just works nice. And it's kind of fun to use it, right? I get a little out of practice because I don't use it all the time, and I'm kind of guilty of that, but it has some nice plugins to do various things as well. So let me know in the chat and that what kind of the way you like to do your prototypes. I'm always curious to see what other people are doing, and I'm always curious to try new tools. So if there's a particular tool that you use, talk about it. There's a good chance I may not have heard of it, and stuff to try out and things like that. All right, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to paste this one in here. So I'm going to turn off now the entry screen. So this one's going to be the preview, right? So for the preview, what we really want here is just a pretty big, window here, like so. And this is just going to be the preview screen. Still have the option to, like, if I like it, yeah, great, kick it out. But I also want to go back down here. Got to find my button. Where's my clear button? And I want to just take that. Paste it in there. Let's group those. Call this the preview screen. Hey, CocoType, has it been hot again for you this week? I remember last week you said it was kind of miserable. Texas, it's always miserable here during the summer. So, all right, preview screen. And instead of clear, this one's just going to be, we're just going to call it closed for now. And I think, I think what it'll end up being is just, button in the middle here, right? Something like that. Very simple. Preview it, export it, close it. I'm still mostly Sketch, but my latest project, the Dream project, that will probably never really exist. Yeah, it will. It will. It will if we keep bugging you about it, right? Has been mostly prototyped in code because I can't get the effects I want in Sketch. Yeah, that is a good point. I'll talk about that in a second. Highlighter is all in Sketch. Kineo is a mix, etc. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I often find that I end up with a mix at the end of the day. The trick is always, if I do something different in Xcode, should I go back and update the prototype? Since it's just for me, invariably my answer is no. I'm not going to bother. But of course, anytime I'm doing anything with more than one person, yeah, I should always go back and update the prototype for other people. Warmish this week, not miserable. I've been mostly getting away, only running in the AC at night. You know what? That's good though, right? Because there is nothing worse than being hot and miserable at night. Oh man, if I don't get decent sleep, I just know it's going to be hell. So I understand. Problem I've got right now, it's hot during the day, and it's warm at night, but by the time I wake up in the morning, because I keep forgetting to reprogram my air conditioning, it's freezing. Which is like, okay, I don't want to get out of bed. Even though my office is like just over the other side of the house, I don't want to get out of it. All right, just wait for the midday sun to warm it up a bit, right? Okay, so got this. We're gonna hit the close. That's the preview screen. Debugulator is just held together. Twigs and buttons. What's a prototype? I think it's prototypes are sometimes I think of them as, when you're at school and you do like the whatever it is, chemistry, physics, that kind of thing, and there's the bit that says this is how it's going to go, right? And then there's the bit afterwards with the conclusion that says, we applied the green liquid to the yellow liquid and Johnny's eyebrows fell off, right? And I think that, the pre-planning, definitely the prototype, Johnny's eyebrows falling off because of the chemical explosion is really the end result in Xcode. Yeah, if we were to be honest about it, right? All right, so that's that one. Let's look at the favorite tag management. What I'm thinking for that one, let's turn this off, is I'm going to insert Apple iOS UI. Let's see. Let me think about this for a second. I want to have... Do I want... Let me think. I know how I did this previously in one of my experimental apps, just to learn stuff way back. I did an app that I still need to finish one day. Need to go back, rebuild it, take what I learned, finish it, called Code Notes. It was actually Code Notes for iOS, I think. And the list of languages for each of the notes that you could pick from was in a table. So I'm not sure if I want to do a table in this or... I feel like I do want some kind of table, right? Because I don't need this footer here. This footer can go. Okay. Wait. I need to... There it is. Detach from symbol. Okay. So I don't need the footer. Footer can go. Footer can go. Footer can go. Where's this one? Oh, that's the background. Okay. All right. So yeah, this will be fine. I'm trying to think. Each tag would be a row in a table. So what I could do, let's just sort of sketch this out and think about it as we go here. So that will be that. let's go back over to my entry screen. I want to steal something from here. Turn that off. I want one of these. I'm just going to take this one. Turn off the entry screen. Take all of this. Nope. Take all of that. I'm going to group this, and this is going to be tag. Hey. Tag management. All right. There we go. And then the reason these are here is this is going to be where I add a new tag. All right. Add tag. So I type a tag in there, hit return or hit a button, gets added to the list. I think, of course, the way we do this is standard thing, right? If I want to delete one, I'm just going to swipe to delete. Makes sense, right? If I want to edit one, I'm going to do it. How about this? I do it so I tap on it. And when I tap on it, tag comes back up here. But instead of saying add tag, this switches out to say edit tag. Agreed? Simplest way, at least to start with, I think. And then maybe we'll make it look a bit fancier later on. Okay. Now, let's think about this, because thinking about like the way WordPress does this, which I've always liked, if I go the route of keeping all the history, right? The post management that I'm talking about that gets stored in here somehow, as opposed to just make one and export it, then I could also have it so that each of these tags would be able to say, hey, there's 15 posts with this tag, and then, because what I do in WordPress, every so often I go through, and if I see like there's a tag that it's not associated with any posts anymore for whatever reason, or I fudged it up. Like this weekend, I hit return, and of course WordPress created a new tag called M that I'm never going to use. Then I can see it on here. It says 0. I can swipe to delete it. Boom, we're gone. Right? Makes sense. I like a lot of the philosophies that WordPress has on the way it does things. I think its interfaces are in some serious need of a makeover, but just saying that in general, I think something like that is nice, where you can see whether it's been used or not. Okay, so that is tag management for now. Now we need a way to get back out of tag management and to get into it. I'm in two minds right now whether I do a tabbed interface for the whole thing or whether I do more of a navigational kind of style with icons. I haven't decided which way I want to go yet, to be honest. I feel that tabs is kind of a bit old school at this point. Not really in the current philosophy of UIs, but it also just works, right? So I'm not sure. I've got to think about that some more. But that's the tag management. All right. So we've got 1, 2, 3. We've got settings and the export options. So for the export options, I'm really thinking, if I take the entry screen here, and then let's see, insert Apple iOS UI, controls. Does it have one for the share? I think there is one somewhere. Views, action sheets. Activity, light. Okay, no, that's, well, that would pop up under here. I think this library is a little bit out of date here, but let's just put that in there for now. All right, so I tap on this, this appears, and all that stuff. That's just a placeholder for now. We'll come back to this. All right, settings. Now, going to think about what the settings are going to be for the app right now, because there isn't really too many. Even in the current app, current version has some settings. Oh, I know what I can do. In the current version of the app, there is one that allows me to set a default path as a save location, because that's always handy, right? So, for example, it's a bit of a shortcoming in the current version, because you may recall I said previously, the current version has two sites. It's got compileswift.com, it's got peterwitham.com. What I want to do is an update there sometime, and maybe we'll do it on a stream for fun, is be able to set a save path for each site, so that, you know, if I select the site to be Compile Swift, it's going to have a path that points to the location on my hard drive for the repos, and, you know, the correct repo there. Another one for the peterwitham.com, something along those lines. That was a bit of a learning curve on the first one. Didn't even enter my head, and it's only got one. So anytime I changed to a different site, I ended up having to, the idea was to not have to manually go to the location every time, but I ended up doing that because invariably whichever one I had set, I wanted the other one. Makes sense, right? So we need to overcome that. So I guess our requirements for that would be a default save path for every site. Be able to specify one. All right, let's take one of these. So I'm just going to take, actually, no, I'm going to take this one. So let's just mock this up a little bit here. I'm going to hide this, going to paste it. We'll group these. And I know these will end up being separate artboards eventually, but for now, as I'm placing everything, it's all right here just for me to see it, because the fun part will be still got to do the iPad version, still got to do the iPhone version, things like that. So this is going to be the settings screen. Let's just, you know, start putting the stuff on the screen here, then figure it out. So this is going to be default save path, which eventually, I mean, this may become redundant because if we use the share sheet, but we'll see. So we've got the default save path. I'm just going to put that, indent that there for now. What else? There was one other thing I had in mind, and of course I didn't write it down, which is exactly what I should have done, right? Because, you know, guilty as charged. You have that idea, you're like, I'll remember that, don't need to write it down. No, not going to happen. All right, we may have to just build this one out as we go. So we've got the save path. I think that's going to be it now, depending upon the data management. Don't really plan to have any sounds on this, because what would be the point? I think there's kind of no need for sounds on this app. So that's looking pretty good there. Okay. How are we doing over here? So that's all of our list covered. Let's go back though. Let's hide this one. Bring back up the main entry screen. I don't recall. Let me see. Insert Apple iOS. I'm looking for a calendar. Page group picker. Date and time. Beautiful. Okay. Date and time buttons. No. Inline. No. Compact. What's this one? Actually, I really like that one. Don't even know if that's still a thing anymore. This may be the old version, but let's just put that there. So let's do this. Gonna have to start cleaning this up a bit here. Otherwise people are gonna think I'm crazy. So I'm gonna duplicate this, turn that off, go put that up here, put that back up at the very top. So on my entry screen, I'm going to take this box. Let's play with the design a little bit. Let's rename this one date time selection. Take both of those, put them at the top. Time to, oh, look at this, very customizable. Very well done. Okay, this library, by the way, is the one that you download from Apple to bring into Sketch, in case anyone was curious. Feel free to ask any questions, by the way. Now, on this one, though, I think we really want to have... I'm looking for my... Where is... Okay. Way down here. Let's add a shadow, but I don't want the shadow on everything. Oh, you know what? I'm a foolish boy. Hang on. Shadow should be on this one. Sorry. Shadow. There we go. Let's step this up a little bit though, shall we? Change the color. So it'll look something a little bit more like that. And then the alignment is a little off. I want it to be there, I think. Okay, not terrible. Not fantastic, but not terrible. I've not tried the Mac version of those sketch libraries. I assume it's just as good as the iOS, watchOS ones. Yeah, I mean, this one is, in fact, this, yeah, I'm actually using the iOS. This is the iOS one right now, which is why some of these look the way they are. I really should use a Mac specific one, but this is the iOS one for Apple. And most of the time I just use this one, but I did use a Mac one. It was actually a third party one. It wasn't the Apple. I'm trying to remember who it was. I think it was one of those like huge mega kits, and I paid for it because I was so impressed with the quality. I'll have to try and find out. So maybe I can tweet what it was. But the Mac, it was really nice. Yeah. I haven't checked Apple's official Mac OS one now that I think about it. They must have one, right? Let me have a look. Sketch, Mac OS, Apple library. Apple Design Resources. And folks, if you've never checked them out, looks close enough that I thought it was the Mac version. No kidding, right? In fact, you could say that it's probably a good idea to use the iOS one / iPad OS, because if you're going to go cross-platform, you're already thinking with that mindset. Do you know what I mean? Here is, I tell you what, let's do this now. I'll download their Mac one. For anybody that's watching and wondering what on earth we're talking about, let me show you. This is the official resources for design resources from Apple. And on there is the libraries like these sketch libraries that I'm using. For example, there's Sketch, there's a Photoshop, there's the, what's they call that? Apple, Adobe XD, something like that. Things like that. So I'm going to download the macOS 11. Well, there's a sketch kit and a sketch library. I don't know the difference, so we're just going to pick one. All right, you can't see it, but it's opening up the preferences for Sketch, and it's just downloading the library and installing it. So let's do this in real time and see. I mean, if you can't trust Apple's own designs of these things, right? Drag this to the sketch library, drag it to the documents folder, yada, yada, yada. Yeah, whatever. Done it before. Okay. Okay. Please don't make me restart Sketch. Thank you. Okay. Oh. Well, this actually opens up a bit of a different ball game here because there's an awful lot more in here than there is in the iOS one. So hold on. I'm trying to find all the bits. Actually, you know what? For example, I'm just going to drag this in. Here's the share sheet, which needs some work. Okay, macOS UI controls. I am looking for a picker and not seeing one. Stepper, switch, text field. Curious how different the text field looks. Yeah, I much prefer the iOS one. But what I was looking for was a calendar. And do you think I can find it? I gotta go down the list here. Hold on. Buttons, of course, lots of nice buttons. Steppers, switch, text field, tooltip. No. It does have nice list views. Menu bar. Actually, you know what? I say that. Menu, system, templates with the wallpapers in, views, alerts, boxes. So, funny enough, what I don't see is a calendar control. How odd. I wonder why there'd be no calendar. So oh wait, what's this one? Oh no, it only has one for the menu bar. Useless. Interesting. So there isn't even one showing there. So we're going to go with the one for iOS. That's surprising. Okay. Wow, I feel like they need to update that sucker, right? But they've got it for 11. It's just not all in there. Okay, we're going to go with this. I sort of intentionally kept the aspect ratios here iPad-like because I think, I don't know, I envision me using this more on the Mac than the iPad, but I think the percentage on the iPad is probably higher than I think it's going to be. So a lot of times I have ideas for something and I'm not sitting in front of my Mac when it's there, right? So that's why I want it for the iPad. iPhone, yeah, but I'm not really going to... I hate typing on the iPhone, even with the huge... You know, I've got the 11 Max, whatever it is, and still hate typing it. Anyway. Okay, so that is how it's going to look. What I really would like is... see if I can do this here. Let's see how good I can remember to do some of these things. I would really love like a visual representation where you know you have something along the lines of this. I'm gonna mess it up here a little bit, right? But imagine this shadow not being here, so when you click on the post date, it becomes part of this control to indicate that it's there, right? I think if I combine these. If I choose the right one, hold on. I don't want to group that selection. I want to transform it and let me think. Edit. No. Where is the Boolean combines? Combine. There it is. Okay. Right. Something like that. And then let me find this. We'll go on top of it. Gotta find the right spot. But let's change the fill. I gotta open system preferences. Of course, I've got to allow a permission for something because I haven't done something for 5 seconds on my Mac. So of course I've got to give permission for it, right? Come on. Jeez. Okay. Wow, maybe I think I've created myself an optical illusion here. Hang on. There you go, something like that. Right, so the alignment's a little off. Let me fix that. Okay, so here would be the idea. Let's see if I can pull this off. All right, so you're on this screen and then you click on the post date here and it pops up like that. You get the idea, right? I mean, I think that's kind of nice and cool. Trying to do it without having the selection on it. I think that's kind of nice and cool. What do you all think? I like that. Feels very clean, modern Mac-like, in my opinion. Okay, so that's the date time selection. Oh, let's see. I'm going to try and get a little bit more done here before I wrap up the stream this week. But what do you all think? I feel like this is looking pretty good. Now, what normally happens, folks, I'm going to be honest with you, is I'll look at something like this and I'll go, right now I'm like, oh, I'm loving this design, super excited about it. And then I come back tomorrow and look at it and be like, what the hell was I thinking? What is going on? Like, silly things bother me about UIs. I don't like the way it's all so close to this box right here and the shadow, but I need the shadow to differentiate this active control, and I like the way it stands out, but this bothers me. So, you know, it's like, I'm going to have to do something about that. In fact, it bothers me so much that I'm going to have to do something about it right now. So what I think I'm going to do is, see, that's already bothering me less, right? I know it's a tiny thing, but these little tiny attention to details is probably what drives people crazy when I'm doing app design for them, but it's just the little things, right? But this little corner here fades into nothing, but it may be different once we go into Xcode and we actually do this. So I'm going to go with that for now, but I feel like, hey, this is not bad, right? So that's the date time selection. On the entry screen, like I say, the rest of these are all strings. These ones are going to insert content into here. I mean, I feel like this is something that I would be happy to take over and start coding with and saying, all right, next time around, I'm going to try and convert it in the code. Let me pull up the version in Xcode so we can all preview where it was before I started and where it is now, right? So give me 1 second. I'll get everything up on the screen here together. I'm going to try to. Anyway, Hang on. Okay. Nitpick suggestion. Do you need the word post on every field label? Maybe just titled. Good. You know, thank you for mentioning that actually, and because, you know, okay, it is nitpick, but I was nitpicking it too all the way through this earlier today when I was laying this one out. I was saying exactly the same thing to myself, and I'm still not sure, but here's the problem, and I think this is what I allowed myself to be swayed with when I was thinking about this. I think I couldn't get that kind of WordPress analogy, you know, kind of comparison out of my head. And of course, you know, as any of you who's ever done any WordPress, you know there's posts, there's pages, and all these other things. And I think that got stuck in my head. And so I'm like, okay, need to clearly identify this is the post, even though that's all this app does. So you're right. And I was leaning towards not having it say post. So I'm glad that you mentioned it and you feel the same way, because it justifies trimming that down to just say, you know, title, tags, featured image, so on and so on, without being the post. And then if this grew into something else, that, you know, because with Markdown like this, right, each post does become a page in kind of the way that these sites build themselves out. For anyone who's ever done it, you've probably come across this. And so essentially when you're writing a post here, you are writing a page. So even if I had some feature later on that was like, okay, and I'm doing pages now, I'm not even sure then I would need one to say post and one to say page, because it's kind of the same Markdown philosophy on it, right? So let's do this. Let's drop it off and see how we feel about it, because yeah, I was really in two minds, and so I'm thankful that you brought it up to force me to think about it again. I guess I kind of got to the point where I was avoiding it. Yeah, I mean, it's what the one huge benefit for me of dropping those off there is it's cleaner, right? The UI feels cleaner and looks better. You know, I think I've mentioned it before. My philosophy with UIs is only give you what you need at any one time, right? As opposed to putting it all on there, like the whole Word with all the bars everywhere. You don't need that 90% of the time. So why bother me with me seeing it, right? So let's go with that for now. So thank you. Yeah. Right. Let me see if I can get everything on the screen at once here. Hold on. What I'm going to do, I'm going to play the app in Xcode with the screen that we had from last time, and then I'll put that next to it. And it's shocking how different they are. I think it's that thing between, you know, that thing of when an engineer builds it and then when a designer sort of plays with it for a bit. So give me 1 second here. Let me see if I can get this to... I'm going to arrange the screens here, try and get it all on there. I actually don't, now that I think about it, I don't know how to hide. Oh, I hit a button that was not a button I wanted to hit. Hang on. Can I hide the sidebars? I guess I can, right? Yeah, 1 and 2. Option, come on, okay. Option command 1 and 2. Perfect, okay. Let me try and get them the same size. And then I'll bring it up here for everybody. That's not bad. Okay, let's bring that over to there. Let's get that one out the way. All right, hold on. Almost there. All right, let me change my sources here. Okay, it's going to get a bit weird here for a second. Let me just switch some of these things off. Hang on. Let's hide sketch. Okay. Whoa. There you go. Okay. So you should be seeing them. Let me make sure. I'll put it up on my iPad. Give me 2 seconds. I just want to make sure on my iPad screen before I start talking about it. Oh, okay, great. All right. So here we go. So this was the controls laid out just out of the box, like slap it on the screen of SwiftUI on the left here. This is the design on the right. Obviously we know that I haven't applied any styling to anything over here, but I think let's take a vote on this. I think that the one on the right is a cleaner, assuming that I can make everything in Xcode look like this. It's a more cleaner, more modern Mac philosophy style kind of, whatever, desktop 2.0 Mac, blah, blah, blah thing. What do you all think? I think I prefer the one on the right. That's just my thoughts. And of course, it will respect light and dark mode. That goes with that saying. That has to be a standard thing, right? So I'm pretty happy with this to say this is a place to start from. What do you all think? Let me know in the chat. But I think we're done here for the day. We have got our view that we want with all the other views, and we don't have this, we've got away from the standard controls here. I could, of course, easily write all the logic code and all the business and everything else on this without any problem and then add the UI later. But I think as a fun thing, because we got to have some fun with this, what I should do next is say, all right, I think I now need to try and make this UI look here in Sketch over here in the app, and then, start applying the stuff to it. I think you got to have some early wins and some early, some stuff to get you excited about it, right? And just looking at kind of standard controls on the screen while you write the code, that's fine as long as you're in the code, but it's not as fun, as exciting, and it doesn't make you want to use it and work it as much as having something visually pleasing. And I think that, for me at least, that's because of just my design background, from previous careers, if you like. And that inspires me to keep going and keep working with this. Like I've said before, I use this app, the earlier version of this app that I wrote, every time I write posts for Compile Swift. So I use it pretty regularly, right? So it's a pretty good incentive for me to want to have it look like this. So I like the one on the right. I think that's got it there for now. A couple of housekeeping things, right? I'm going to do, like I said, the Compile Swift podcast. I'll do it during the week and release that. And, anything else related, you can go to compileswift.com and you'll find it there. You'll find the videos, tutorials, you name it, it's all there. One other thing I do want to mention is I will, let me switch back over to my other screen. I think it'll make it easier. Give me 1 second. All right. So there's probably a very blank screen for you right now. So hold on. Let me bring back up Sketch. There we go. Okay. All right. What I want to do here, give me 1 second to find it. You can find this stream, I guess the most convenient place, if you go to, I'll put it in the chat here. Give me 1 second. Right. I'm actually powering this off of Streamlabs. So it goes to Twitter. It goes to Twitch. It goes to YouTube. It goes to the Facebook page. If you are so inclined and want to, and please don't feel that you have to, there is a page for tips here as well. And we also have, I'm going to show you this here. We now have the awesome merch, which I've mentioned before. And let me find, I'm looking, I've got some of it around here somewhere. Hang on, give me 1 second. Because I am so impressed with this. I can't believe it. These Champion bags, I ordered one because I wanted a bag for when I go back to the office eventually. But let's see if I can get this on camera. Check it out. This stitching here, I can't see my camera and show it. Hang on. The stitching here is on the bag is just absolutely phenomenal. And it's the same on the cap and that as well. So if you want to show some love for Compile Swift, please feel free. I will greatly appreciate it. Everything goes back into what I do here and what I'm making for you all. And really just want to keep this going. Just looking to cover the costs of things is all I'm really trying to do. Not going to get rich over the night on this one. That is it, folks. I think that's going to do us for this week. Thank you so much for coming and hanging out. Always appreciate you all dropping by. It means the world to me that anyone wants to, give me some of their time to watch the crazy things that I do. Make sure that you check out Coco Type's stream as well. It's just awesome. And I'll be checking in. Hopefully, I'll still be awake and haven't fallen asleep. And I'll check out your midweek stream as well. So that's it, folks. That's where we are this week. Next stream, I think what we're going to do, like I say, I'm going to try. I think we got to start building some of this design out here in Xcode and seeing just how much SwiftUI I've managed to learn over time with the modifiers and how much more I've got to go. Take care of yourselves. Thank you for hanging out this weekend. Have a great week. Keep an eye on compileswift.com. There'll be stuff